The Galactic University's lecture hall hummed with an electric tension. Professor Emily Roberts stood at the front, her weathered hands gripping a mysterious sealed containment case that seemed to pulse with an unusual energy. Around her, alien students from various planetary systems shifted uncomfortably in their crystalline seats, their multiple appendages trembling with anticipation. Young Thomas, a blue-skinned Xyloxian student in the front row, leaned closer to his friend James. His translucent tentacles quivered as he whispered, "What do you think is inside that case?" The humans had a reputation across the galaxy: survivors, adapters, masters of impossible situations. And Professor Roberts embodied every whispered legend. Her eyes held a calm intensity that suggested years of extraordinary experiences. The simple uniform she wore spoke of practicality, of countless adventures beyond the sterile academic environment. The containment case itself was a marvel of technological engineering. Multiple mechanical locks secured its layers, indicating that whatever was inside was not an ordinary specimen. A low, rhythmic vibration emanated from within, almost like a heartbeat, alive, aware, waiting. Some students inched their chairs backward, their natural survival instincts screaming caution. Others leaned forward, curiosity burning brighter than their fear. The classroom represented a microcosm of different species: blues, greens, translucent beings with complex anatomical structures, all united in this moment of collective anticipation. "Today," Professor Roberts began, her voice steady and calm, cutting through the nervous energy, "we're going to discuss something far more important than standard xenobiological theory. We're going to talk about understanding." The case continued its gentle vibration, a mysterious pulse that seemed to synchronize with the room's ambient temperature. Small indicator lights blinked in complex patterns, suggesting sophisticated internal monitoring systems. James, with his advanced xenobiological training, noticed a fresh scratch on the professor's hand. It was recent, suggesting a recent struggle or encounter. His analytical mind began constructing potential scenarios, each more intriguing than the last. Outside the classroom window, the university's alien landscape stretched magnificently, crystalline structures floating against a backdrop of distant planetary rings, creating a scene of extraordinary beauty. But inside this room, something extraordinary was about to unfold. Professor Roberts touched the case softly, almost affectionately. The movement suggested a deep connection, a relationship that transcended mere scientific observation. Her fingers traced the intricate lock mechanisms with a familiarity that hinted at a profound understanding. "Respect," she said quietly, "is the universal language of survival." The words hung in the air, carrying a weight that silenced even the subtle environmental hum of the university's climate control systems. Each student felt the profound meaning behind those simple words, a philosophy that seemed to challenge everything they knew about interspecies interactions. The creature inside the case seemed to respond to her voice. Its vibration changed rhythm, becoming more complex, more nuanced. Thomas felt a chill run down his spine. This was no ordinary lecture. This was something transformative. As Professor Roberts prepared to unlock the case, the entire classroom held its collective breath. The alien students, representing dozens of planetary systems, evolutionary paths, and biological configurations, were united in this singular moment of anticipation. Something was about to emerge. Something unexpected. Something that would challenge their entire perception of life, communication, and survival. The mechanical locks began to disengage, each click resonating with precision and purpose. The first seal broke open with a soft, almost gentle hiss. A faint sound emerged from within the case, not threatening, but alive. Something breathing. Something sentient. Professor Emily Roberts, a human from Earth, stood ready to reveal something that would change their understanding forever. Her eyes reflected a mixture of scientific curiosity and something deeper, a profound respect for the unknown. The moment stretched, tension building, anticipation reaching a crescendo. And then, very slowly, she began to unlock the final mechanism. The first glimpse of the creature caught everyone by surprise. It wasn't massive or terrifying as the students had imagined. Instead, a small being emerged, its skin changing colors like a living canvas, shifting from defensive grays to soft blues and greens. Professor Roberts moved with practiced gentleness, her hands creating a protective space around the creature. The alien students watched in stunned silence, their breathing synchronized in collective wonder. Thomas leaned forward, his scientific curiosity overwhelming his initial fear. His blue-tinted skin rippled with nervous energy as he studied every minute detail. James, sitting beside him, remained absolutely still, his analytical mind processing the extraordinary scene unfolding before them. "Every creature has a story," Professor Roberts said softly, her voice carrying a warmth that seemed to calm the room's nervous atmosphere. The creature, small, delicate, yet possessing an unmistakable intelligence, looked around with eyes that seemed to understand far more than anyone expected. The classroom's advanced environmental systems hummed quietly, creating a sterile backdrop to this extraordinary moment. Holographic displays flickered subtly, recording every microscopic movement, every breath of the mysterious being. James noticed something unusual. The creature wasn't just responding to Professor Roberts, it was communicating. Subtle color changes, almost imperceptible movements, suggested a complex language beyond verbal communication. Its skin told stories, revealed emotions, created a dialogue that transcended traditional understanding. Professor Roberts continued her gentle explanation. "In my years of research, I've learned that danger is often just a misunderstanding. What appears threatening might simply be asking to be understood." The creature made a soft sound, part chirp, part musical note, that seemed to resonate with something deep within the classroom. Some students felt an unexpected emotional connection, a bridge between their different biological experiences. Outside the classroom window, the university's alien landscape continued its mesmerizing dance. Crystalline structures reflected light in impossible patterns, distant planetary rings creating a backdrop of extraordinary beauty. But inside this room, something more beautiful was happening, a moment of pure, unexpected connection. Thomas noticed the professor's hands, weathered, scarred, telling stories of countless encounters. Each mark seemed to represent a lesson learned, a bridge built between different species. The way she held the creature spoke of respect, of understanding that went beyond scientific observation. The alien students represented dozens of planetary systems, each with their unique evolutionary path. Blues, greens, translucent beings with complex appendages, all united in this singular moment of collective wonder. Their initial fear had transformed into something else: curiosity, respect, a growing understanding. Communication, Professor Roberts explained, isn't about language. It's about listening. About seeing beyond the surface. The creature's colors continued to shift, creating a mesmerizing display. Its movements were calculated, intelligent, suggesting a sophistication that challenged everything the students thought they knew about interspecies interaction. James's scientific training battled with an emerging emotional response. This wasn't just a specimen. This was a living, thinking being with its own complex inner world. The boundaries between research and connection began to blur. Professor Roberts slowly extended her hand, creating a bridge between herself and the creature. It responded, not with fear, but with a gentle movement that suggested trust. A connection was forming, delicate yet profound. The classroom technology captured every moment. Microscopic sensors recorded biochemical responses, emotional shifts, the intricate dance of communication happening before their eyes. But no technology could truly capture the magic of this moment. "We are here to learn," Professor Roberts said, her voice carrying a universal wisdom, not to categorize, not to control, but to understand. The creature made another soft sound, this time closer to a response, an acknowledgement. Its colors stabilized, settling into a calm palette that suggested safety, connection, belonging. And in that moment, the students of Classroom Sigma 9 realized they were witnessing something extraordinary. Not just a scientific demonstration, but a profound lesson in empathy, in the universal language of respect and understanding. The revelation was complete. The journey was just beginning. The classroom became a silent theater of unexpected connection. Professor Roberts held the creature with a gentleness that contradicted her reputation as a tough interstellar researcher. Its iridescent skin continued shifting colors, communicating in a language beyond human understanding. Thomas watched with scientific fascination. Every movement, every subtle color change of the creature seemed to tell a complex story. James, typically reserved, found himself leaning forward, his analytical mind struggling to comprehend the extraordinary scene unfolding before him. Communication isn't just about words, Professor Roberts explained, her voice soft yet carrying across the hushed classroom. It's about understanding. About seeing beyond what appears different. The creature responded to her words, not with sound, but with a remarkable transformation of its skin. Blues melted into greens, grays dissolved into soft purples, a living canvas of emotion and communication. The alien students watched, their initial fear dissolving into pure wonder. Outside the classroom window, the university's alien landscape continued its mesmerizing dance. Crystalline structures reflected light in impossible patterns, distant planetary rings creating a backdrop of extraordinary beauty. But inside this room, something more beautiful was happening, a bridge between species, between understanding. James noticed something remarkable. The creature wasn't just responding to Professor Roberts, it was actively engaging. Its movements suggested intelligence far beyond what their scientific training had prepared them to understand. Each subtle shift seemed calculated, purposeful, communicating complex emotions. Professor Roberts's hands told their own story. Weathered and scarred, they spoke of countless encounters, of battles fought and connections made across different planetary systems. The way she held the creature suggested not just professional interest, but a deep, personal respect. Every life has a story, she said, her fingers gently stroking the creature's changing skin. And every story deserves to be heard. The alien students represented a diverse collection of planetary experiences. Blues, greens, translucent beings with complex appendages, all united in this moment of collective understanding. Their initial fear had transformed into something profound, pure, unfiltered curiosity. Thomas felt something shifting inside him. This wasn't just a scientific observation. This was a lesson in empathy, in seeing beyond biological differences. The creature's intelligence was undeniable, its ability to communicate both subtle and powerful. The classroom's advanced sensors captured every microscopic detail. Biochemical responses, emotional shifts, the intricate dance of interspecies communication, all recorded with precision. But no technology could truly capture the magic of this moment. Professor Roberts continued her gentle explanation. Understanding begins with respect. With the willingness to listen, to see the world through another's perspective. The creature made a soft sound, part chirp, part musical note that seemed to resonate deeply within the classroom. Some students felt an unexpected emotional connection, a bridge between their different biological experiences. James's scientific training battled with an emerging emotional response. This wasn't just a specimen to be studied. This was a living, thinking being with its own complex inner world. The boundaries between research and connection blurred into something beautiful. The creature's colors stabilized, settling into a calm palette that suggested safety, connection, belonging. Its movements became more relaxed, more trusting. Professor Roberts had done more than introduce a specimen, she had created a moment of profound connection. We are here to learn, she said, her voice carrying a universal wisdom, not to categorize, not to control, but to understand. The alien students exchanged glances. Something fundamental had shifted in their understanding of life, of communication, of the vast possibilities that existed between different species. Thomas realized this was more than a lecture. This was a lesson in humanity, or perhaps, more accurately, a lesson in universal compassion. The creature, so small yet so intelligent, represented something bigger than itself. As the classroom continued to absorb this extraordinary moment, the creature nestled closer to Professor Roberts. Its skin told a story of trust, of connection, of a bond that transcended biological boundaries. The unexpected connection was complete. And in that moment, everything changed. The moment of transformation began subtly, almost imperceptibly. Professor Roberts held the creature with a delicate balance of scientific curiosity and genuine compassion. Its iridescent skin continued to pulse and change, telling a story far more complex than any scientific notation could capture. Thomas watched, his scientific mind struggling to comprehend the extraordinary interaction unfolding before him. James leaned forward, his analytical skills working overtime to process every minute detail of the creature's behavior. The classroom felt different now. The initial fear had completely dissolved, replaced by a collective sense of wonder. Alien students from various planetary systems sat in complete silence, their multiple appendages perfectly still, captivated by the unfolding scene. Transformation, Professor Roberts said softly, isn't about changing something entirely. It's about understanding its true nature. The creature responded to her words with a remarkable display of communication. Its skin rippled with colors that seemed to tell a story: blues of trust, greens of understanding, soft purples of emerging connection. The alien students exchanged stunned glances, realizing they were witnessing something extraordinary. Outside the classroom window, the university's alien landscape continued its mesmerizing dance. Crystalline structures reflected light in impossible patterns, distant planetary rings creating a backdrop of extraordinary beauty. But inside this room, a more profound transformation was happening. James noticed something remarkable. The creature was adapting. Not just to the environment, but to the emotional landscape of the classroom. Its movements became more deliberate, more communicative. It was learning, growing, connecting in real time. Professor Roberts's hands told a story of their own. Weathered and strong, they moved with a gentleness that suggested years of complex interactions. The way she held the creature spoke of respect, of understanding that went far beyond scientific observation. Every living being, she explained, her voice carrying a universal wisdom, has the capacity to grow. To change. To become something more than what we initially perceive. The creature made a soft sound, part communication, part emotional expression. It was no longer just a specimen. It was a being, intelligent and aware, capable of complex emotional and intellectual responses. Thomas felt something shifting inside him. This was more than a scientific demonstration. This was a lesson in universal empathy, in seeing beyond biological differences. The creature's intelligence was undeniable, its ability to communicate both subtle and powerful. The classroom's advanced sensors captured every microscopic detail. Biochemical responses, emotional shifts, the intricate dance of interspecies communication, all recorded with precision. But no technology could truly capture the magic of this moment of transformation. Professor Roberts continued to explain, her words creating a bridge of understanding. Transformation isn't about changing who you are. It's about understanding who you can become. The creature's colors began to stabilize, settling into a more consistent palette. Its movements became more confident, more purposeful. It was no longer a scared, defensive being. It was becoming something more. James realized this was a moment of true scientific breakthrough. This wasn't just about studying a new species. This was about understanding the fundamental nature of communication, of connection, of growth. The alien students represented a diverse collection of planetary experiences. Blues, greens, translucent beings with complex appendages, all united in this moment of collective transformation. Their understanding of life, of communication, was expanding with each passing moment. "We are witnessing something extraordinary," Professor Roberts said, her voice filled with a mixture of scientific excitement and deep emotional understanding. The creature nestled closer to her, its skin now a complex tapestry of colors and emotions. It had found something more than safety. It had found understanding. As the classroom continued to absorb this extraordinary moment, something fundamental had changed. The boundaries between species, between understanding, between what was known and what was possible, had shifted. The transformation was complete. And in that moment, everything was different. The creature looked up, its eyes reflecting a newfound sense of belonging, of connection, of hope. The final moments of the lesson arrived with a profound silence that spoke volumes. Professor Roberts stood at the front of the classroom, the small creature now completely calm in her hands, its skin a peaceful blend of soft blues and greens that suggested complete trust and understanding. Thomas and James watched in absolute amazement. What had begun as a potentially dangerous scientific demonstration had transformed into something far more profound. A lesson about connection, empathy, and the universal language of understanding. Every life has value, Professor Roberts said, her voice carrying a wisdom that seemed to fill every corner of the classroom. Every creature, no matter how different it might appear, has the capacity to learn, to grow, to belong. The creature moved slightly, its iridescent skin reflecting the classroom's soft lighting. It was no longer the frightened, defensive being that had first emerged from the containment case. Now, it seemed almost curious, scanning the faces of the alien students with an intelligence that challenged everything they thought they knew about interspecies communication. The alien students represented a diverse collection of planetary experiences. Blues, greens, translucent beings with complex appendages, all united in this moment of collective learning. Their initial fear had completely dissolved, replaced by a sense of wonder that transcended biological differences. James noticed how the creature responded to the classroom's emotional landscape. Its colors shifted subtly, creating a complex language of emotion and understanding. It was communicating not through words, but through a more fundamental, more profound method of connection. Professor Roberts continued her explanation. Learning isn't about memorizing facts. It's about opening your mind to possibilities. It's about seeing beyond what appears different. The university's advanced sensors captured every microscopic detail of the interaction. Biochemical responses, emotional shifts, the intricate dance of communication, all recorded with scientific precision. But no technology could truly capture the magic of this moment. Thomas felt something profound shifting inside him. This was more than a scientific lecture. This was a lesson in universal empathy, in understanding that intelligence and connection exist in forms far more complex than traditional scientific understanding. The creature made a soft sound, part chirp, part musical note that seemed to resonate with something deep within the classroom. Some students felt an unexpected emotional connection, a bridge between their different biological experiences. "We are here to understand," Professor Roberts said, her voice carrying a universal wisdom that seemed to transcend the boundaries of species and experience. Not to categorize. Not to control. But to learn. Outside the classroom window, the university's alien landscape continued its mesmerizing dance. Crystalline structures reflected light in impossible patterns, distant planetary rings creating a backdrop of extraordinary beauty. But inside this room, something more beautiful was happening, a moment of pure, unexpected understanding. The creature nestled closer to Professor Roberts, its skin telling a story of trust, of connection, of belonging. It was no longer an unknown entity. It was a being. Intelligent, aware, capable of complex emotional and intellectual responses. James's scientific training battled with an emerging emotional response. This wasn't just a specimen to be studied. This was a living, thinking being with its own complex inner world. The boundaries between research and connection blurred into something beautiful. The alien students exchanged glances. Something fundamental had shifted in their understanding of life, of communication, of the vast possibilities that existed between different species. Professor Roberts smiled a smile that suggested she knew something profound had just occurred. The creature responded with a subtle color change, a communication of trust and understanding. As the lesson drew to a close, the classroom felt different. The air itself seemed charged with a new understanding, a new possibility of connection. The creature looked up, its eyes reflecting a newfound sense of hope, of belonging, of understanding that went far beyond biological boundaries. And in that moment, everything changed.